Journal entry, day 1. Today's the day. Today is the day that I've been waiting for in my entire life. Today's the day I get to receive my first Pokemon. I got up about 7 o'clock this morning, got ready, got cleaned up, went to talk to Mom. I could tell she was sad. Her boy was leaving home, but she knew that day was coming, so she was okay with it as long as I promised to come and visit. She said that Professor Oak was looking for me. So about 7:30 I got ready to go and started heading to his lab around 8 o'clock. Walked into the lab, started looking around, and couldn't find him. The only person I recognized was Mithril, so I went to talk to him, and he told me that his grandpa was away. See, Mithril was Professor Oak's grandson, and he tended to be a jerk. So I went back out to look for him in the town. And couldn't seem to find him anywhere. I don't know where he'd ran off to. So I decided to check outside of town. When I started to step outside of town, I heard him yelling at me, told me to wait, not to go out. He ran up to me, and he said it's unsafe to go outside, that wild Pokemon live in the tall grass, and without a Pokemon of my own to protect me, it's very dangerous. So, we headed back to his lab. We finally made it back. Mithril was still waiting. Professor Oak had asked us both to come on this day to receive our Pokemon. Of course, Professor Oak allowed me to go first, making Mithril extremely mad. I thought it was funny. Mithril gets mad at everything. But that's okay. He seems to be an alright kind of guy. So, Professor Oak offered me 3 different Pokemon. He offered me the grass-type Bulbasaur, who looked really cool. I knew he'd make a great partner. But I had to decline. He offered me the water-type Squirtle. Also, would make a great partner. But I'd already set my heart on one Pokemon, and that was Charmander, the fire type. This is the Pokemon I had wanted for so very long. And with that, Professor Oak gave me my very first Pokemon, Charmander. He asked me if I wanted to give it a nickname. I had never thought about that. Never thought about giving my Pokemon a nickname. But only one name came to mind. A name from a video game I used to play as a child called Monster Hunter. I thought of the main monster I loved to fight. His name was Rathalos. So with that, I nicknamed my Charmander Rathalos. Mithril came up, picked his Pokemon. He had received the Squirtle, thinking he could be better than me. On my way out the door, Mithril decided he wanted to have a battle right there inside the laboratory. Professor Oak seemed to be okay with it, so we decided to have our very first battle. He sent out a Squirtle, and I sent out my Rathalos. All of us still young. Both me, Mithril, our Pokemon, all of us young. Not knowing very much about battling, Professor Oak gave us some tips. Helped us out. Talked about the Pokemon's health and the type of level it was. And he says the more experience you get, the higher the level your Pokemon get. They learn new moves. At this point, we only knew Scratch and Growl. So I used Scratch, knowing Growl wouldn't do a whole lot. The Squirtle used Tackle. I continued using Scratch. We were going to scratch our way to victory, doing the best we could, scratch after scratch. It seemed to be, those few moments seemed like they took hours. My first battle, my first Pokemon. and I knew Rathalos could do it. He finished the job. And I could tell, even after the battle, being tired and worn out, that Rathalos had grown even stronger. We had defeated Mithril. We got our prize for winning. Professor Oak went on to tell us that every Pokemon battle you win some money. And that was just icing on the cake. I was just happy to have my Pokemon. And I knew our journey was going to begin soon. So we set off. Journal entry, day 1. The time is about 10 a.m. I'm finally getting to set foot outside of the town. And it's not long outside of the town that we come across a Rattata. And we thought this would be a good time to test our abilities against a wild Pokemon. Wouldn't you know it, Rathalos took that Rattata out with just one hit. Oh, I knew at that time that me and Rathalos were going to grow strong together. We were going to go all the way. So we made our way through the path. And we walked up the path. We walked around hills and around trees. We enjoyed the scenery, and it wasn't long till another Rattata attacked us. So we continued doing what we did. We were going to scratch our way to another victory. This Rattata has been stronger than the last. He took a few more hits. He got us with a tail whip. But in the end, Rathalos managed to win. Through all of this battling, I could tell Rathalos was getting stronger. So strong, in fact, that he learned a new move. He learned the move Ember. Couldn't wait to use it. But we had a small quest we had to do for Professor Oak real quick. We made our way up. We finally made it to Viridian City. This is the first time I'd ever been here. I found the Pokemon Center and the PokeMart. A few random houses and some people. I decided to go ahead and try out the Pokemon Center. I'd read all about them. It said that there was a nurse here. I went in to meet her. She said her name was Nurse Joy. Such a nice name. She seemed so sweet, and she wanted to take care of my Pokemon. To help them to rest and recover. That's exactly what she did. When she had gave me my Pokemon back, I could tell that Charmander was at full health and ready to go. So we walked out. We made our way over to the PokeMart. This is the small errand that Professor Oak had wanted me to run for him. I walked in, and apparently the cashier was expecting me. He said, "Hey, you came from Pallet Town." He knew right away that that's exactly where I came from. He gave me a parcel for Professor Oak, a package that had came here for him, and asked me to deliver it. So I took the package and we set off on our way back to Pallet Town. As we entered Pallet Town, we made our way back to Professor Oak's lab. We walked in and I went up to him. He asked how the Pokemon was doing. He said it seemed to be growing. That made me so excited. "You must be talented as a trainer," he said. Oh, you don't know how happy it made me to hear that. But I delivered the package, and we decided to move on. He had special ordered a Pokeball. I'm guessing from a man named Kurt. I'd heard something about it on the TV once. The man who created Pokeballs. It wasn't long after that that Mithril showed back up, and Professor Oak seemed to have another quest for us, for both of us this time. He's talking about a Pokédex that he had invented. It was supposed to be some type of high definition encyclopedia of all the Pokemon, but he wanted us to help fill it. So he gave us each a Pokédex. It was pretty cool. He'd record the Pokemon we've seen and the ones we've caught. He also gave me 5 Pokeballs so I could start catching my Pokemon. Oh, I could not wait to catch my first Pokemon. He explained how it was done. To battle the Pokemon and to weaken it and then throw the Pokeball. He went on to tell us that he wanted us to complete this quest for him. Mithril said that he was up for it, and he said he didn't even need me. And he was going to get a town map from his sister and not let me have one. He can be a jerk, but I really think that one of these days we could be friends. So, just to prove him wrong, I was going to go visit his sister anyway. See if she'd allow me to have a map. I knew she would. She's always been nice to me. Much, much nicer than Mithril. So she gave me a town map. I decided to visit Mom one more time before I left. And wouldn't you know it, she wanted me to stay and take a quick rest. So I stayed and talked to her, and I showed her my Pokemon and different things. And we had a good time. After that, we decided it was time to take off for our adventure to finally start, to truly begin. Oh, I couldn't wait. Journal entry, day 1. It's about noon, and man do I have some exciting news. As we were traveling, we came across another Rattata, and its data was added to my Pokédex. But I skipped all that, I was too excited. I nicknamed him Rufus. Why? Because I really couldn't think of anything better. But that's okay. Man, I was excited. I had caught my first Pokemon, and it was a Rattata. So much excitement. The Rattata I knew was going to have to be trained to be able to keep up with Rathalos. Rathalos and I had already been through so much together within just a short amount of time. We made our way through the port, or to the along the path, all the way up to Viridian City again. But before we got there, I had realized that a couple years ago someone had gave me a potion for my birthday. and I hadn't got it yet. I'd forgot it back at the house. So the next Rattata came, and we decided to try out our new move, Ember. Man, it was strong. Took out the Rattata with no problems. So we decided to make our way back to Pallet Town one more time. Journal entry, day 1. It's about 12:30, and before I could make it back to the house, I'd encountered my very first Pidgey. Wow, Pidgey was really cool looking. The fact that it could fly through the air made it so much stronger. But we took it out using Ember and Scratch. Had no problems. And I could tell each passing battle Rathalos was getting stronger. We made our way back into the house. Went upstairs and started searching all over for it. I couldn't remember where I'd put it, but I found it over around my desk. It was a potion that someone had gave me for my birthday a few years ago, and I'd been saving it just for this. I had my NES sitting around. I don't think I'd be playing it for a very long time. One last look upstairs just to make sure I hadn't forgot anything. Mom wanted me to take another rest. This time I didn't stay as long, but it was nice to see her. Journal entry, day 1. It's about 2 o'clock. I've made my way back to Viridian City. Again. If I keep this up, I'm going to know that path like the back of my hand. I went back and visited Nurse Joy one more time. I knew the Rattata was still wore out from the battle we had when I caught it, and Charmander had battled a few more times on her way back. Growing even stronger, of course. So we stopped by and talked to her for a few minutes. Decided I'd make my way up to the PokeMart. I knew I could buy some stuff and take with me, some important things I knew I'd need along the way. I could carry 10 total Pokeballs. I wanted as many as I could get. And bought some potions. They were a little bit bigger, so I could only hold 3 potions with me. Antidotes and Paralysis Heal. There's 2 other things they offered. I know I could only hold 3 status healing items. And this time I decided to go with 3 antidotes. I didn't think I'd need the paralysis heals. As excited as I've been about traveling, I knew that there was a forest coming up that was full of bug Pokemon, and they had the ability to poison. So I went with my antidotes. And if that wasn't enough for one day, I knew I could still make it in time to go fight the gym leader. Oh, this old man had stopped me. Said he had had his coffee, he was feeling good. Give me some advice. It was nice to see such an old man helping out a young man, a young boy on his first journey. He showed me how to actually catch a Pokemon. I didn't have the heart to tell him I'd already caught one. He showed me. It was good to see. He gave me a Teachy TV. It's supposed to be able to help teach me all the things I needed to know. I had read up on most of it beforehand, so we made our way on over to the gym. I was excited. I was going to take part in the Pokemon League, a league of the top trainers in all the world, or at least all the country. I got to the gym. I had to have 8 gym badges to enter the league, but the doors were locked. I guess the gym leader wasn't there. So instead, I decided to make my way on over to another route. Be a good time to see if I could find me a second Pokemon. Oh man, I found the second Pokemon, and it was a Mankey. I'd seen this Pokemon in the books. So strong looking. I was afraid that Rathalos had maybe gone too strong to fight it, but I wanted to check. We used to scratch. Oh, and I could tell that it hurt it, but not enough to knock it out. I knew this was my chance. I got in my bag and I threw a Pokeball, hoping it would catch it. It went in, it rolled on the ground, and click. I had caught Mankey. Man, today has been such a great day. So exciting. This being not my first Pokemon, I wasn't quite as excited, but still so excited that I'd caught a Mankey. I decided to read the Pokédex, light and agile on its feet, and ferocious in temperament. When angered, it flies into an uncontrollable frenzy. I thought about it long and hard what to name it, and again only one name came to mind. I named him Rocky. So, just to recap my first day, on day 1, I received my Charmander. I had my first battle, caught my first Pokemon. I ended up catching a Rattata and a Mankey. It's been such an exciting first day. I decided I'd head back to the Pokemon Center. It was getting late, the sun was starting to set, glistening over the mountains. And I knew the Pokemon Center was a place where trainers would go and they would spend the night so they could get a good rest, a good meal. And that's exactly what I'd done. We went back, I allowed the Pokemon to rest. Then I myself decided to rest for the remainder of the day. What a day it's been. So exciting. I've already got 3 Pokemon. Battled so many times. I'm so looking forward to what the next few days, few weeks, few months, and maybe even years have in store.